Right now I'll be sharing with you guys fat loss strategies for those of you who are on a budget. And this is an important video to make because I often hear people complaining about how they can't get any leaner because they can't afford it financially. They just don't have enough money to do so because they have this idea in their head that getting leaner takes high quality foods, the highest quality foods, therefore they can't afford it. So they're just gonna stick to going to certain fast food restaurants and just, eating healthy here and there, but they can't afford it for the most part. So they're not gonna make any big commitments. And that's what this video is about because I've found certain strategies along the years, especially within the last couple months, where you could save a ton of money and you could still eat very clean for the most part. And I say for the most part because obviously it's not all biological, but there's still a difference between biological and clean eating, but that's a different topic altogether. But at the same time, that shouldn't be an excuse to not eat healthy foods. Just because you can only spend, for example, 80 to 100 bucks a month or per week, which is roughly $400 a month, doesn't mean you can't eat healthy. You can eat very healthy with $100 a week. You just have to know how to manage it properly. Even if you have less, even if you're at $80 a week, you can still make it work if you really apply these strategies to the T. But the thing is, the lower amount of money you have per week, the more you have to take these strategies seriously. Whereas if your budget's okay, you could pass on certain ones, it's not the end of the world. So the first being that you have to be on a committed fat loss cycle or fat loss journey. And what do I mean by this? Certain people, they're dedicated on certain days, but there's other days where they just bulk. They're just in super high surpluses. And this surplus is gonna affect your pockets because you're gonna be eating more foods. So junk food aside, if the two options were only eating a surplus of clean food or a deficit of clean food, it makes more sense from a financial standpoint. You're gonna save more money if you're in a deficit because it's the same types of foods, just the portions that are different. So that really helps as well. If let's say, you're 25% body fat, your goal is to get down to 16 or 17%, then getting on a fat loss phase or just, cutting down is definitely gonna aid in your pockets because you won't have to spend as much money because you're not taking in as many foods. You might be going from, for example, 3,500 calories a day to 2,600 calories. This is definitely gonna make a big difference. The next thing, and this is hands down one of the most important ones on the list, is to start buying more of your food on sale. And to make this even better, to make this a lot easier for you guys, this is such a low-hanging fruit. Download the app called Reebee, R-E-E-B-E-E. You type in, your postal code, you type in which grocery store you shop at, and it tells you the prices that are on special for the week or for that month. And for example, I was picking up this week blueberries. I was doing 3 packs for $5. And that's a super good deal because the grocery store I was going to before, it was 1 pack for $4. So I'm saving money right there off of just one purchase. And that brings me on to the next point, which is that you might have to change grocery stores altogether. I've personally done this myself. And every month what I do is I basically take my receipts from the grocery store, I post them on my fridge, and then I'll take all the receipts and I'll just calculate how much I spend for the month just to get an idea. And I noticed that when I made the change to this newer grocery store, I was getting the same foods for the most part. Some of them were different brands, but generally speaking, they tasted the same, but I was spending $50 less. That's still $600 at the end of the year that you're still saving. Although on my end, I'm still trying out new foods. I'm still trying to manipulate certain variables to see if I could just make this process a lot easier for myself. And it's definitely working. So it's not always the same amount of money I'm spending per month. Some months, for example, maybe 500, some months maybe 6, others might be 450, but I'm personally not on as much of a budget as I was on before. So I have a little bit more money to play with when it comes to the groceries, but at the same time, I've been there before where it was a bit more tight, so I still know what it feels like. The point is to waste less food. Some of you guys might actually be doing very well from a financial standpoint. You're buying your food for the week, you're buying it for the month, whatever the case is, and you happen to be throwing away certain foods. That's what's killing your pocket because you start buying more foods going way out of your budget. But if you were to not waste any food at all, if you were to spend, for example, $400 per month on food and not waste a single piece of food, not have to put anything in the garbage, you'd be so much better off. And I know that I was wasting a certain amount of foods too. For example, certain bananas would go black, certain proteins, I would tell myself I'm gonna cook this fish on this day. Next thing you know, certain things came up, I look at the fish, it's expired, I don't wanna take the risk and get sick, so I have to just throw it out. Certain things like that could happen, but if you guys have a better system, it's gonna make things so much easier. So for example, if you guys dedicate your meal prep to Sunday night. Just 3 hours. You know, all the dishes are gonna be clean, everything's gonna be stacked and stored in the Tupperwares in your fridge where it's nicely organized. That's gonna it's gonna put you in a certain situation where it's so much harder to waste food because everything's just so properly organized. And if, for example, your food's in a certain Tupperware and you're not gonna eat it that day for whatever reason, just put it in the freezer and it's just gonna be safe there. And that's another thing too. If you guys want to waste less food, you have to have a better eye for things. You have to look at certain foods for the month and think, or for the week, and tell yourself, how much time do I really have with this food? Do I have to cook it today? Do I have to cook it tomorrow? If not, maybe I could just put it in the freezer because these next couple days are gonna be hectic. So once you find a better system, and it's not just for the Sunday meal prep, it's also for the kitchen itself. And if you guys want a video where I really break down, show you guys my kitchen, exactly how I store my stuff and how I make it a lot more easy for, you know, my body transformation and stuff like that nature, let me know in the comment section below. It's kind of like a kitchen tour. But if you guys organize your kitchen in a way where every cabinet, every drawer, everything's just dedicated to a certain thing, you're gonna notice it's gonna make it a lot easier. It's gonna be much more clarity, and you'll obviously have a better eye as well to see what's gonna be expired because everything is in the right place. A nice little tip you guys can add as well, this is completely optional, but I've been doing this and this helps a lot on my end. It's going to the grocery store once per week and buying slightly less than I need to. And the reason why is because when you buy slightly more, now you're left with more food. Now you become in a rush because you have to eat it. Next thing you know, you're eating more food than you need to. And now you're suddenly in a surplus because the choice was eat the food and be in a surplus or throw it out, which will obviously hurt your pockets. So if you buy slightly less, you're gonna notice your fridge is gonna be more empty at the end of the week. But at the end of the day, you still ate all the food. You didn't waste anything. And from a budget standpoint, you're spending less as opposed to spending in 2 week of payments, for example, or monthly payments, which I don't necessarily recommend. You could just go every week and it doesn't take much time out of your day, especially if the grocery store is closer to you. So I know that the one that has better prices for myself is even closer to the one that has the slightly higher prices. So that definitely helps as well. And this especially helps for fruits because in the past I've thrown away a lot of fruits because I'll buy way too many bananas, for example, way too many berries, and I didn't give myself enough time. I didn't have enough of a big window to eat it all, and I would have to end up throwing out some of them. Next is celebrations and eating out. And this is important because maybe you have a lot of friends, or maybe you're in a relationship, or the fact that there's certain celebrations so many times in the year. There's Christmas dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, there's New Year's Eve dinners. There's so many different types of celebrations throughout the year, and a lot of times people will go out to certain restaurants on these occasions. And then, you know, there's birthdays, there's all these types of things, you know, family occasions. And these are all scenarios where you could go more out of pocket, especially if you're on a budget. So you have to be able to anticipate these. And sometimes you can maybe even host these at your place. You could save a bit of money there. Or you could, for example, eat certain foods before you go to these dinners. So that way you're a bit more full, you're more satiated, so you don't have to take the most expensive thing on the menu. There's certain strategies around this. And you want to also limit it as much as you can if you're on a budget, because if you have, for example, a birthday this month, if there's a celebration, if you have some people who are in your entourage, they're saying, look, you're eating so clean, it's just eating one time out of the month at a restaurant, it's not the end of the world. These things eventually add up, so you have to take these into account, and you have to learn to say no at the right times as well if you want to save your pocket. I've already mentioned that you want to buy a lot of your meat on sale, even if you're not going to eat it that week, because you could just put it in the freezer and you could just eat it when you're ready to. But protein comes in different shapes and sizes, and one underrated way to get your protein in, not all your protein, but still a decent amount, is through canned foods, meaning tuna and beans. I personally like black beans a lot. They have a good amount of fiber, protein's high, and also tuna, you can't go wrong with it as well. It's a pure source of protein for the most part. A lot of bodybuilders swear by it. And these are two tools that are super affordable. You could buy them in large amounts for the month, and you're gonna save a ton of money, and you're still gonna be satiated. But most importantly, they also taste good. So I personally find that cans are super underrated if you're on your fat loss journey and you wanna save a lot of money. But that's pretty much it for now. So if you guys want a part 2, if you guys were happy with this video, let me know in the comment section below if this helped you guys out. Also, let me know, how are you feeling on your cutting journey? How's the process going so far? Feel free to share with all of us down below. And with that being said, see you guys next time.